We can sing the March of the Peasants.
Was that a theme song? Is that your theme song now?
From Erie Zone Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
I don't know what to make of this. This is the Taxpayers Hotline with your Councilman Kaz Kwiatkowski and Ivan
DJ.
You look like we should play the March of the Peasants from Tchaikovsky or something.
Okay.
You look like you're obviously cold.
I'm very cold. It's
what are you going to do when it really gets cold here?
I won't be here, so it won't matter.
You're going to Colorado and you're not going to be cold.
I'm already there, man.
Okay. Hey, we got a caller already, DJ.
Howdy.
I introduced you already. Say DJ. Go ahead, caller.
My
You're on.
garbage night is regularly on Thursdays.
Pardon?
My garbage night is regular on Thursdays.
Yes.
Is it going to be the same?
You know what? I better check. I don't think it will be. I'll have somebody. DJ's going to check. Stay. I'll announce it over the air. Okay.
I know Christmas and New Year's is always 1 day difference.
Yeah, I can. If DJ can't find it, I'm going to check real quick. Can you want to hold?
I'm looking.
Oh, let somebody else call.
Yeah. Okay. And
I'll find it.
If DJ doesn't find it, we'll ask. I have one of the ladies in the back room check for me.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good day.
Sure. You too.
Happy holiday.
You too.
You too.
Don't eat too much now.
Oh yeah.
We'll all be sleeping. That's a time to attack America, right after Turkey. What do you think?
Don't give them any ideas.
They turn football. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, I got a couple questions.
Just a couple? What's the matter? Aren't you feeling good?
Write them down and then you can address them afterwards.
Okay, go ahead.
Fire department.
Hey, I'm not allowed to take notes when I'm listening to you.
Well, you can listen and
That's
make
what
to multiplex.
That's what everybody says when they see us making notes during the meetings.
They think you're just filling O's.
Yeah, I said, what do you think we're taking notes? Well, go ahead.
The first one is the fire department.
Yes.
The personnel that takes their vehicles home, do they declare the mileage and how do they?
I tell you, I can give you a quick answer. The fire and police and other employees, there is a ordinance that says when they can go home. Of course, that hasn't been diligently enforced. There are some people that can take the cars home.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
the ones that take the homes that live in Fairview and Northeast and Harbor Creek, are they declaring mileage for the IRS?
The way I understand it is if they use it for personal use, they would have to. At times we have done it. At times we don't give them the proper paperwork. No. So the answer is we don't do it all the time.
But that's not an answer.
No. Well, I pressed it when I was controller. So
the whole thing here is they're using vehicles that we're paying. The taxpayer is paying for the gas. We're paying for the oil. We're paying for the prepare, and they're getting a vehicle to use.
I will bring it. What I'm going to do, I'll bring it up again during the budget sessions.
That's a good thing to do.
And I can tell you that when I was controller, I looked into it, and some were getting them and some weren't. Okay.
But then those who weren't getting it should be prosecuted.
If they were given it, let's see, how did that work? If
it's a department assignment,
yeah,
they
for instance, we give a vehicle to the chief and all that. Okay.
Well, that's understandable. He's on call 24 hours a day.
Well, we also give them to members under ordinance. There were different units that could get them. We had people there, the bomb squad guy. Okay.
Yeah, they can get called any time.
Right. Some of the SWAT team members,
But I'm talking about the other one.
Oh yeah, it gets out of hand. It gets reined in for a while, and then you have to really keep on top of it. I'll talk to the controller.
All right, now
and about it. But you are right. It should be. They should get usage.
Well, yes. Do you have any police that are out being rehabilitated through these various organizations?
What do you mean, like I
strained myself and I'm under comp and they send me to a rehabilitation gym or whatever. Because I see a police car all the time up at Penbriar. And I just assume that somebody's in there.
Well, it's possible. Here's the problem you get into. We used to have...
I know the one with Hammett.
Well, we had arrangements with different places that...
Right, for keeping them on their toes, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, and the only person that... The only people that can really tell you that are prevented under HIPAA from, telling you where they are.
Personnel director.
Yeah, personnel director and the controller, who used to have to okay the bills.
True.
Like if, it's no secret, if certain, especially in public safety, when you have people that have been involved in shootings.
On the job, yeah.
Right, sometimes they don't think they need it, but there's nothing wrong with counseling,
No, in fact, you need counseling a lot of times.
Oh yeah, finding out even in the military that, it's necessary. So can I tell you absolutely no, but we do have some arrangements, yes.
True. Well, I understand that.
But, whether we have one there, I couldn't tell you. But there are, different things that...
I do understand.
Yeah, there's rehabilitations and stuff, but yeah, it's a good question. And I tried my best when I was controller, and I used to be able to... I could tell you this, I could not see what they were being treated for, but I could tell whether they were registered in certain places.
Right, and they're making their weekly appearances.
Because I had to pay the bills, I had to make sure, but I'm not, nobody's entitled to know what they're being treated for.
That's true.
But and that's HIPAA.
True. Okay, let's go to the next question.
Okay, go ahead.
Now the attorney general is coming in to audit your books again.
Well, he should have been auditing. From what I understand,
they're looking into the last 4 years.
Yeah, but they should have been auditing that a lot more. CDBG you're talking about.
The last 4 years.
Not our books. He's
coming in to look at everything.
I think he's looking. No, he does John. He does that He does that all the time. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the Auditor General audits our pension plan frequently. Okay. And the other books, I think what he's looking at, if I remember the article, and I'd have to ask finance or the controller's office, I think he's dealing with the CDBG funding.
Well, I think that's because there's a federal complaint against that.
Well, somebody probably is not happy the way the money was spread.
True.
But they should be auditing that on a much more consistent basis. When I was controller, I noticed...
Audited yearly.
Well, sometimes every 2 years because the auditors have so much work.
Well, they have 5,000 employees too.
They've cut back a ways. Some of the auditors now work out of their houses and have to use their own cars, and they've cut back the staff a bit. So they have to audit like every school district, every pension plan.
The Attorney General isn't hurting for staff.
Who's auditing us, the Auditor General or the Attorney General?
The Auditor General.
Okay, the Auditor General, like I said, he does that frequently. But when I read the article, it sounded like
they're fishing.
They hadn't done it in a while, and they should have.
I think they're fishing.
Well, maybe they are. That's.
Here's another question. If I want to find out the expenditures for 2017, what contracts, is all that stuff available to who, where they went, and how they were paid?
What do you mean? You mean did they?
All the finances the city had in the year 2017 till they closed their books. Is that available to me, John Q. Taxpayer?
Yeah, if you want to sit there and read it, they're not going to give you copies. But
I understand. Well, can't they put it on a flash drive and give me the flash drive, or don't you have that capability?
They probably could. But what do you want to know specifically? Because what you're asking could be very. If you're looking at like specific things.
I'm fishing to see that the money is spent properly.
Where though, John? What, like just at random?
To waste, like COG, like contracts, to where they're going, the whole shot.
CDBG, you meant?
No, I meant CDBG. I meant Redevelopment Authority.
Well, here's the problem with CDBG. Okay, we award the money. You're going to find a check. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. When I was controller, I can tell you this. Now you're going to send the money to a third party. Okay.
And they're going to distribute.
They're going to spend it as they told you they would. Now, they're going to send you back documentation, which is going to go through the finance office and then the controller's office. If the controller's office demands it, and they have been since the time of Brenda Punt, including me and the present one, as I understand. So they're going to audit those books. You know, you're going to sit there and audit them as best you can and make sure that they have all the documentation and, you know, as is required. So yes, you, John Q. Publican, you're going to have to put a request in through Freedom of Information Act, and you're going to have to be very specific, because what you're asking is kind of really, you're asking for a wide range of things.
Whole year.
Huh?
I want to audit the city for the whole year.
You would probably, if you did that, they would probably, under the law, it says the city would have to take a reasonable time to get it to you because of the nature.
I do understand that, too.
Yeah, and they're going to probably charge you unless you want to sit there.
No, I'll sit there.
But that's the purpose of why we get audited by our auditors.
Well, that's what you have a controller for, right?
Yes, but we also have, by law, have to have an independent audit. So the city hires a firm to do that. We hire McGill Power Bell.
I want to go one more thing so we can get other people on. Now that you have a new council,
right?
3 female and 4 males, maybe we can get down to brass tacks and get some licenses for snow plowers, for lawn cutters, and everything else. Maybe we can get a council that can be bipartisan and look at the best interest for the city.
Well, this council has approached the administration with many revenue ideas.
But I understand, and they shoot it down from the 5th floor.
Well, they don't. It's not. Well, here's the problem, and the problem is we write the ordinances, they don't approve them.
True.
So they have to be approved by law by the solicitor, who answers to the mayor. Okay.
True.
The council that I serve on right now has had no problem increasing garbage rates. Has had no problem looking at other methods to raise taxes, and we're thinking about them. You know, we're going to explore them during budget sessions. There are some ideas on the table that many members have brought forward.
Have your budget session coming up here. If you don't like that budget, you can send it back, right?
Yes, we can. And
but I bet you don't have the votes to send it back, because Joe's boys are going to be leaving, and they're going to give him his gift.
Well, here's the trouble. You got a new mayor coming in.
I understand that.
He's going to want to. He's probably not going to be happy with it. You know, because I don't know what he has in mind. You know, he hasn't said to us.
No new broom coming in wants to take the last mayor's stuff, but the mayor was on top of everything. He got us a little surplus, but your new mayor coming in says we have a $5 million surplus. So if we have a $5 million surplus, let's get out there and fix the roads.
Well, when the present mayor came in, we were in bad shape.
You were $11 million in the red.
That's what we knew about.
Well, yeah, and then you went to 47.8, Act 47.
But I will say this, the new mayor coming in, I'm going to try to get him involved in the budget this year, to try to get his input, because the time really to do it is while we're going over budget deliberations.
Well, true.
Not trying to reopen it next year, you know.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but
because we have no idea what he has in mind for staffing. I mean,
well,
there are things that I would have done had I run for mayor, that new positions and some elimination of old ones that.
Like he said, the new mayor says he wants to get a grant writer. I thought we had a grant writer 8 years ago.
Well, we didn't have one that specific job. Here's the problem. A lot of our grant writers, for instance, we got a grant writer, somebody in the police department that's pretty good at that. We got people in different departments, but.
Well, you have 4 grant writers in the city.
Who?
They're called representatives.
Representatives?
Yes. Harkins, Flo Fabrizio.
But you still, as a municipality, when they notify us, it's still our job to fill out the paperwork, okay?
And that's where a lot of problems derive.
And what we do is we try to work with a lot of groups out there too, like when you talk about BEST or the Sisters of St. Joseph, they're writing grants too. And I think it's a good idea that the city really has a designated grant writer. What we also need, this came up the other day, John. I was driving around, and I don't want to release any secrets, but there's a certain couple businesses in Harbor Creek that may be changing, okay?
Yeah.
And they'll be looking for a location.
Well, Pep told me, never mind. I don't want to let it out of the box.
I don't either. Call me and talk to me, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Because, a lot of times I don't know what's going on there, and, that's another municipality. But the rumor came out, and if it's true, okay, we should have somebody here, and we don't. I mean, we call it economic development.
Well, you do.
But we need somebody that's...
You can do anything.
But see, you need somebody with a job title and a description that I don't think we have.
Not anymore.
And you need them to go out right now and contact all these businesses that are looking for new homes.
True.
No matter how big or how small they are, and say, hey, you know what? What is it that you want? What is it that you need to move back into the city?
Well, who took KG's place? I won't say her name, but you know.
Yeah. Well, but even she did not do that. Okay, they'll tell you they did, but we don't have anybody that really goes out there. Somebody even in this. Here's the problem: we got in the whole county, we got 5 or 6 people doing this. They're all shooting from different guns. Okay.
Yeah, get together.
Yeah, get together, and I call it instead of shotgun, you're using a rifle approach.
True.
Go after one, like a sniper. Pick out a business and say, let's go up there and talk to them and say, what is it that you need to come to Erie? What is it the reason you don't want to come here? When I talked to Nick Scott personally, I learned a lot just by talking to him. What he expected, what he would like, the cooperation.
True.
Like right now, there's about 2 or 3 companies I was just talking to the other week that might be affected by what you and I might be on the same path about.
True.
And I'm going, well, you know what? Let's find a place where we can put them in town.
You got your chamber doing nothing but drawing salaries.
Yeah, I mean, let's go out and find.
True. We got a new Irish person in town called Flynn Tire up on Upper Peach Street.
Really?
Yes, Flynn's Tire.
Didn't see it.
Next to McDonald's up there, about 54th Street, in that area.
Ah, okay.
It used to be Ross and Copas, I believe.
Ah, there you go.
So, but we'll get off the air here and let somebody else get in here. And
yeah, you had some poignant questions. I'll have to get together with you, have some coffee.
Yeah, big cup.
I'll tell you how to approach what you want, okay?
You're going to be undefeated before too long.
Who?
Browns.
You know what, John?
Yeah, you don't.
They break your heart yesterday,
You don't. Yeah, I was rooting for them. What was really nice was I seen the Giants knock off the Chiefs.
I used to like the Giants. They were like my second team,
Tell you what the Giants' problem is.
What?
Coaching.
Oh, boy, there you go.
I'm telling you. They had that other coach. He got it out of them. These guys, they're prima donnas. You got to treat them like such.
That's true. It's a different world today. I'd love to watch about maybe a couple hours of the old-time football.
True.
It might be boring to some of these kids, but boy, it was more online,
Wore leather helmets and never had brain concussions.
Yep. Good tackling. You didn't see these guys breaking long runs.
At the heads or whatever.
Too many broken tackles now.
They go right at the middle of the belt. You never break a tackle on a good tackler.
Yep.
Aims at your belt buckle, you're caught. I'll get off and...
Hey, thanks, John. Have a good holiday.
Oh, I will. But I'm going to have lasagna.
Ah.
No turkey. There's enough turkeys in Washington.
There you go.
Okay.
DJ left. He's got a visitor out there, I guess, but... Here we go. Go ahead, caller.
That's delayed here. Hey, just DJ, I've checked with the Public Works.
He's not here right now. Can you hold? I mean, he's out in the hallway. What do you want me to tell him?
Well, I'll let you know. That one caller wanted to know about the...
the garbage pickup?
Yeah. It's going to go as normal for Thursday.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Public Works told me that. The other thing I was wondering is, with the events you have down at Perry Square, when the Erie Downtown Partnership puts that on,
Yeah.
who maintains the liability insurance on that event? Did they do, or does the city have that?
When they take out special events, I believe they have to take out the liability.
Okay, so that would be the Erie Downtown Partnership then?
I would believe so. I'll talk to Mr. Rocco. I do know, like, when we give easements out for people, you know, when we extend their business, like they can go out and put chairs on the sidewalk,
Right.
they have to include the city on their insurance policy. Because, you know, in case, like, you know, God forbid, a brick falls or somebody walks into one of the railings or, you know, something happens. And so, you know, I would imagine it's the same thing for events, that when they have an event, they have to provide security and liability. But I can check for you.
I'll tell you one thing. If those people put the tables and chairs for eating out there on a sidewalk, they can count their blessings, because I'm just thinking, even if you go back 15 years, the amount of pigeons we used to have flying around.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to have my food out there for them to not only attack, but to leave their debris in it.
Yeah, it's amazing, though. But even out of town, you know, you don't seem to have that problem as much, you know.
No, but I don't notice the pigeons, and even down at Perry Square, I was down there today, there's no squirrels, chipmunks anyway, and, you know, the whole park had changed. It's no longer a live park. It's just a bunch of trees and concrete. So, but anyway, just want to let you know about that park. I did say about Christmas. Christmas may be adjusted, though. So, I want to check with
That was Doc with the garbage. He thinks it's normal, he said.
Oh, it's normal. I found that out when I went in.
Okay, we got to tell that gentleman then.
It's normal.
Garbage pickup will be normal then, normal cycle.
This week.
Thanks, Richard, and thanks, DJ.
Yep.
Okay, well, and then I'll talk to you sometime. I won't talk to you next week, but we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks here.
Okay, no problem.
You have a good week, and have a safe travel.
Yeah, well, I'm staying in town this time.
Well, you're not going to ski your kids?
No, they're sometimes we do every so often on Thanksgiving, but this year we're staying at home. It rotates a little bit.
Oh, DJ, I hope you get the feeling better, too. I know what you mean. So,
Thanks.
all right, you take care, both of you.
See you, Doc.
Okay.
Bye now.
Yeah, pickup this week will be normal.
Yeah, thank you.
I didn't find out about Christmas, but we will next week.
I think Christmas they might adjust, but
Yeah, we'll let them know.
you getting ready for your altitude sickness?
I'm getting ready for altitude sickness. Yes. It's all good, man. It's all good. My heart will always be in Erie.
Maybe we'll get you to come back.
Oh, I'll come back. I'll be back to make trouble.
I will tell you the rumor I heard. That's why I didn't want to. It doesn't involve Erie, so I mean, but
Yeah, that's all right. I don't care. I'm gone. I care, but I don't want to give away
but
anything.
you know, that's what bugs me is that when we hear these things, you know, we need to be proactively trying to bring them here. You know,
Well, I mean, if that's the case, how do we, instead of this shotgun approach, how do we?
no, you can't. You know,
How do we do
everybody's-
it?
Well, you're dealing with
What do we do?
you're dealing with fiefdoms.
I get that. So stop the fiefdoms. Can we hire somebody as a city?
No,
Say, this
because-
is your job.
Because the chamber has their guy, and they all got their separate organizations paid for by. What we tried to do, and we got yelled at a little bit when we did the comprehensive plan. Remember
Yeah.
the war room?
Yeah.
Remember that concept?
Uh-huh.
Well, the war room was designed to be a place where everybody brought their plans in. Because I tell people this all the time. Everybody that's involved downtown has a plan.
Right.
They're not all necessarily working in the same direction.
No,
So you got, you know, Gannon's got a long-range plan. Hammett's got a long-range plan.
Okay.
Your insurance got a long-range plan.
Right.
The convention center has a long-range plan. Port Authority, the Downtown Improvement District, EMTA, everybody has a plan. And then you got businesses with plans, right?
Okay.
Go ahead, caller.
How you doing, Mr. Cat?
Oh, here we go. You're doing good. How about you?
All right. The other day, a week ago, I was on a trolley, and you almost lost your life.
Why? What happened?
You ran in front of a car in front of City Hall.
He ran into something.
Oh, you did.
Oh, you mean on the street?
Yeah.
Well, no, a guy ran the red light.
Yeah.
I wasn't too happy with him.
No. He
Yeah, he didn't come after me, though. You notice that?
No.
I think he thought better, because I tell you what, I was not in a good mood. He's lucky he didn't kill somebody, including me.
Yeah.
But he ran through that red light, and it wasn't even close.
Wow, I bet you if the cops would have seen him, he would have got fined for that.
You were probably in that bus right alongside of him, right?
Yeah. The trolley, because I was on the trolley.
Yeah, I saw
going
the...
up state.
Yeah, the bus stopped, and the guy blew around the bus and went right through the light.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on my way to the federal courthouse, and...
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the bus driver thought he had you.
Yep, I'm pretty quick, though, even for my age.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you hung around, it might have been nice. Well, I don't preach violence, but
Yeah.
I can tell you the best thing he did was get back in his car. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say about the issue.
Yeah. I'm glad you didn't get hurt, though.
I'm pretty quick yet. I don't think God wants me up there yet or down there. I don't know.
No.
So how you been? Good?
I've been pretty good. Have you got a chance to talk to that lady over at the Y?
No, we're gonna get over there, and I want to take you with me. Remember I told you that? We got to get together. Probably after the holidays be good for you and I. You know, when everything calms down.
It's cold out.
Well, yeah, you don't want to go over there now, but you know, we'll go over there, you and I, and we'll talk to her.
Yeah.
It'll be, you know.
I'll wait till it gets a little warmer.
Well, maybe we can meet her somewhere. You know.
Yeah.
You won't have to go as far. We can have her go to. Well, well, you're pretty close to Tim Hortons, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll go over to Tim Hortons, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, something like that. We'll talk to her and tell her, because you do have some legitimate concerns, you know.
Yeah.
He's talking about, you know, the Y with the ramps again.
Yeah, I remember talking about that. I was wondering when that was gonna.
You got to get them to sit down and.
Yeah.
But you know, they got to see the viewpoint of some of the clients, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So you gonna have a good holiday there?
Yeah, I hope you have a good Thanksgiving, Cass.
How about you? You gonna have one?
I'm going to have one. Yep, I'm going to cook my own turkey.
Oh God,
Yep, I'm going to cook a turkey breast.
Wow. Well, that's good. That's not too big. I mean, it's big enough you'll have leftovers, but I'm like you. I like that part of the turkey the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't eat too much and don't watch too much football.
Yep. Wow, you have a good holiday, and your friend there next to you. Make sure he has a good holiday too, Tom.
Yeah,
You too.
I'm trying to keep him here a little longer, but we're going to lose him. So
Sometime in January.
Yeah. So how you like the new mayor?
I met with him a little bit, and you know, we'll have to wait and see. It's too early to tell, but I worked with him when he was a councilman, so I don't think there's going to be any problem.
Yeah.
I talked to actually both of the candidates, so I don't think there would have been a real problem either way.
Once he
gets in office, ask him if he'll put mill down that road between State and Peach on 11th.
Yeah, well, it's going to be his call. So, let's see, State and Peach?
Yeah, between State and Peach on 11th. Remember I told you about?
Yeah, we got to put that down on the schedule and see. I have no idea. He hasn't met with council, so I have no idea what his plans are, you know. And so it'll be interesting, but I'll keep that in mind, okay?
All right.
And you take care, okay? And we'll.
You two would have a good holiday.
And after.
Watch yourself going across the street.
Right, and after the holiday, we'll go over to what do you call it, Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
And we'll get the director. Maybe she comes over and talks to us. Might be better for you if it's over there rather than you having to go downtown, you know.
Right. Okay, you have a good holiday, Cass.
You too.
You have a good one.
All right, bye.
Okay, this is a picture. This is called a Venn diagram.
Yeah.
This is where you draw 3 circles.
Yeah.
And where they intersect is where everything is in common. Here's the city. Here's, let's just say 3 examples. City, Erie Insurance, and Hammond.
Right.
How do we get to that middle point?
Well, you have to meet, and that's the problem, okay? What you have
Okay.
to do is, when people ask me, like, how come we don't have metropolitan government? And that's a dirty word, okay?
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it, regional government, metropolitan.
Yeah.
You know, some of it is like, it's like when you say the word metropolitan, it's like the 4-letter no word. You know, it draws like, well, that's the way it's been. So what you have to do is you have to get everybody in a room, and that's, I think, what the war room tried to do.
Yeah.
Is say, okay, everybody sits down, you present your plans, then we digest them.
Yeah.
Throw them up on a wall, kind of like what you did. You throw them all up on a wall.
Yeah.
And you try to find, okay, where are their commonalities?
Right.
Those are the easy things you can take care of.
Yes.
It's the other things that are not going to be easy. So, you know, getting to wherever you want to call that
Yeah.
sweet spot, okay?
Exactly.
You know, the intersection. Kind of
Yeah.
like triangulating a radio signal, okay? When you get there, you say, oh, that's where it is.
Exactly.
That's the easy part, okay? Now, the part is the ones that don't agree, okay?
Yeah.
Everybody has to get together and say, okay, how does my plan fit in what everybody else is trying to do? That's what they tried to do.
Yeah.
They tried to get all the, what I call the talking heads in the same room,
Right.
and they all decided, you know, how does our plan fit in with what the city's trying to do, what the county's trying to do?
Yeah.
Because it's all big master plans, you know, and what's best for the area. And I think that's the way you do it. Now, that entails sometimes people having to eat their egos and leave them at the door,
Right.
checking them on it, you know, at the door.
Yeah.
And maybe some people have to give up their jobs.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's harder to do than, but you got to get them into a room where you can find some common ground. That's what we try to do, for instance, in the COG, which is the Council of Governments. We don't bring up the stuff we don't want to talk about, not yet.
Yeah.
We work together building bridges and relationships.
Sure.
So when you get to the tough question and you say, you know what,
everybody's going to get to that sweet spot at some point, but then you have to realize that the stuff on the outer
it's a
edges,
periphery.
some of the stuff you have to realize how is that stuff going to affect
like,
other people's plans.
What if Gannon's plan, it could happen, but probably more so like, what if your insurance's plan starts merging with Hammett's plans?
Right.
You know, now you look at each other and you go, well, you're after the same piece of property I am, or the same area.
Yeah.
So, you know, in a adversarial relationship, nothing would happen.
Right.
You know, they'd fight each other, and the one with the biggest pile of cash, the gold, would win.
Yeah.
He who has the gold rules, right?
Right.
So if you can get in a room and you say, well, we're looking at that too, so how can we do this? And maybe it's a joint project. Maybe it's it's highly unlikely, but maybe, like if you're both looking at a parking ramp
Yeah.
and parking issues and say, well, we're going to need parking.
Yeah.
Parking authority may or may not want to build it there. That's just a simplistic way.
Yeah.
Maybe the two of you get together and you build a common building
Yeah.
and you share it. You know, those are things that come out of dialogue. Okay.
Like you said, though, it's going to mean that they're going to have to eat their ego. Some places,
Yeah, I mean,
it's called compromise.
I mean, when you sit down in a room and you say, they don't want to give away trade secrets, but they'll say, well, what are you thinking about your insurance? You know, how far are you thinking of going?
Yeah.
Okay. And you know, Hammett, where are you thinking? Well, we have no plan. Okay. You find out where there's going to be a problem, an issue. Then when you're designing your streets, this is why we included certain businesses in this model, because if they got plans to do something, they're buying up a block. Okay. Now, how does their plan fit into whether we're going to expand the road or shut the road down? Do we want to shut the road down?
Right.
Or do we want to keep it where it is? Those are what long-range planning will do. And those are the things you have to sit down in a room. But if people aren't willing to sit, nothing's going to happen. As a teacher told me, where reasonable people will meet, reasonable things will happen.
Yes.
But, you know, that's the whole thing. Get somebody to sit down and say, you know, without giving away your secrets, what are you thinking?
Right.
You know, Gannon, what are you doing, Gannon? What are you thinking, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, you try to get on that. Hopefully, if everybody's honest and truth, you know, you come out with a master plan that fits everybody in there.
Yeah.
maybe somebody says, well, geez, I don't want to, but maybe I have to go up 3 stories higher than I wanted to.
Right.
Well,
I just hope people can get together and actually put the egos away and learn how to work together and compromise. Because if they don't,
like when you deal with Gannon, you're talking about how do we mesh them into an inner city? Are they going to make some improvements in the road structure?
Yeah.
Are they going to design it to fit their campus plan? Are they going to put some enhancements in there? These are the things you do when you sit down and you talk about, making things attractive or, for business. Then if you got people in there and you go, geez, I didn't know you're doing that. I might want to move one of my satellite business over here.
Right.
Because there's going to be a market,
Well, there's got to be a way to keep everybody together, keep everybody talking.
Well, I think they really tried with this, the war room. They really did.
Yeah.
And, they tried to keep it out of the media and news, so nobody was pounding their chest. And that's what you have to do. I always like to say this, when you don't worry whose name goes on the plaque, things will get done. Exactly. When you start worrying about how many names you're going to put on the plaque and what you're going to be named after and all that, forget it. It's,
Well, is it still going? Is that something that's still happening?
It's ongoing, and it'll be ongoing. Now with a new mayor. It's going to be interesting, what his thoughts are.
Yeah.
And I told him, that's why I explained to him, you need to meet with council, so we're aware of what you need out of us.
Good.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, guys. DJ and I were talking a little bit about like a small business starting up downtown.
Yeah.
Involve like arts and crafts stuff. When we get together, I hope you and I can get together because I'd like to find out if there's a place downtown where a small business can start up. I'm looking at maybe like a museum.
Yeah.
And but we need to have somebody that does arts and crafts to set up the display and other things of that nature. Maybe you can give me some ideas on that when we get together.
Well, one thing council wants to do is we want to. There's a thought process, and like I say, I don't know what the new mayor is going to do yet, but we have an idea that we want to expand our the amount of money we got to loan out without restrictions from the state or federal government, so that we can make small business loans to local businesses, and that might be one of the things. And then we have to work with various agencies to find out where we have some empty buildings. Who owns what buildings, and
correct,
so that we can, if there's plans to develop them, you need to have everybody meet in one place and say, you know what, I got extra space, because there's a lot of empty space around town. He
knows what I'm talking about, and maybe he can let you in on it after you get off the show.
It's like, thanks for calling.
You take care.
It's like what you guys did at CAT.
Yeah.
You had a little empty space.
Yep. Sometimes you put things together, you combine forces and see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of empty buildings around town. People, various business people own them. But it needs to be a place where, if businesses come to town. I think the chamber does that a little bit, and there's a couple other partnerships that do it. And, they got kind of an inventory of what's in town.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to say you like them to come, but if you don't have a place to incubate them.
There are a lot of places you guys could use as an incubator, for lack of a better term, but people seem to be holding on to buildings for tax write-offs and not letting them go.
And that's where what you need is a organization maybe empowered by the mayor, where the city uses their will, their bully pulpit, I call it.
Yeah.
Because you can't force people to do it, a lot of times, but you need to impress upon them that, if we're going to turn this around, it used to be when I was a kid, there was no empty places downtown. You had businesses on the 3rd floor, 2nd floor, all these buildings, doctors' offices. God, they were everywhere, Yeah. So how do you get back that point, And, how do you, so, we have had some talk about expanding our loan pool. With some novel ways.
Yeah.
At some point in time, the city's going to have to invest in itself, by putting together some funds that, like right now we make loans, but a lot of that loan money comes out of the state or federal pot.
Right.
With restrictions. and we have lent it out. I'll give you an example. We lent some money out to Smith Provision a while back, Dairy Queen on Pine Avenue.
Yeah.
You laugh when you say these things, but they're businesses.
Yeah.
And they enhance their business and they pay back their loans. We've had other companies doing it, taking advantage of loan programs.
No, that's very good.
Go ahead, caller.
Yes. Do you know if the lease pickup is going to be extended? The last day is supposed to be November 30th.
Ooh, I'll have the ladies in the back room check, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. You want to go tell one of them?
Yeah, I didn't. So if the pickup is extended.
No, yeah, the leaf pickup is going to be extended. I would think it depends on the weather.
Okay.
But we're going to find out, but I kind of think it's going to probably depend a lot on the weather. And because once they get the trucks hooked up for snow plowing, it gets rather difficult. But we'll see what happens. DJ is going to get me an answer. We'll have to make a call. But feel free to call in. We're still here. And as we were talking about, the loan fund that we need to set up some of these little funds to encourage business to come here and to encourage people to expand their businesses. Sometimes we look for the home run ball from out of town, and that's not going to come. It's going to be a lot of it's going to be local, and just little mom and pop businesses are gradually expanding and becoming the businesses like when I was a young man. A lot of the big companies all started in either garages or little shops, and grew and grew and grew, and they became huge, and some of them moved. So we have to go back to that spirit of investing in ourselves and entrepreneurship that was prevalent back many years ago. And we will be having our budget sessions coming up here shortly. We're going to schedule a number of them, and they'll be, I'm sure they'll be on TV. But outside of that, I think, everybody's gearing up for the holiday, and hope everybody has a very good time, and you enjoy friends and family. I was talking to my appointment on the airport board, and I'm hoping that we can get more business into the airport, because especially on the holidays, it gets to be real tough trying to make it into Erie on the limited number of seats and flights, and that seems to be the time when you wish you could do it, but we'll see what happens. And here we go. Go ahead, caller.
Ed, with you mentioned that airport. The other question I wanted to ask you, there are a lot of requests for drones, and I know they have to have a permit, but they also have to go through a training. Does the airport here train anybody about how to properly use drones? I know you can't use drones so close to the airport.
I don't think they do, but I think North Coast Air does.
North Coast Air?
If not them, it's... I was at a meeting where they were talking about somebody gave classes out there. I'd have to find out next meeting I go to, who gives drone classes. I know that...
I'm asking that because, Christmas time, there are people who buy them for Christmas gifts. And
I'll call my friend out of North Coast.
They have to know where in Erie you can fly them, because not only do we have the airport, but we also have the helicopter flights.
Yeah, my son-in-law has one, and there are restrictions when you get into what they call the major league category, not the little kids' toys, but the ones you see that can hover and can return to base and all that, the ones that cost a few $1,000, they can get up there pretty high, and there are height restrictions. In fact, if I remember right, they're governed as to how high they can go.
You do. There's a fine if you go above it.
Yeah, and some of them, there's rules on where you can fly them, like above within certain range of airports and stadiums and public events, government buildings.
Right.
So, I'm not sure if you have to be licensed, but
I'll tell you what, why don't you maybe encourage the Times News to put up some kind of an article about it so that can be posted by maybe wherever they sell these drones, so it's an informational piece.
Yeah, that might be good.
All right. Hey, have a nice week.
Because these things are getting, we're going to get into pretty soon businesses using them.
Oh, yeah.
And
Amazon wants to use it for delivering packages, so how well it would work in Erie, I don't know.
The kids ones are kind of funny. They're people don't understand, but the ones that are more high tech, mm-hmm. they can hover up there for a long time. Their cameras are pretty efficient.
Yes, they are.
And they can, if they lose contact with the operator, they'll come back to a prescribed height, or to come back to where they are, automatically return to base if they fall below what you call the horizon of the signal. We're talking about drones.
Ooh. Underwater too.
He asked me, and maybe somebody out at the airport I think gives classes. I couldn't remember, but you don't get into it, right?
I like drones, but I'm not.
There are rules, I know, and height restrictions and everything.
Yeah, you can only go so high depending on where you're
But these ones that aren't play toys, they're quite. You can. I was amazed. We were up in Minneapolis, and you could fly them. The range you could fly those things was just utterly unbelievable.
Wow.
So.
Yep, I'll check on it for you. Okay.
Maybe have the newspaper put an article about the restrictions on drone use.
I'll call the airport and I'll call North Coast and just ask them. Somebody out there was given classes.
Maybe the airport can even maybe do that with the newspaper, because that's the major area you want to avoid trying to use them too.
Well, yeah, some people are misusing them, and it's amazing how fast they fly and how high they go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you take care, and I'll see you again.
No problem.
I don't have that information yet.
I just thought maybe they don't have it?
She hasn't. She's not at her desk.
If we don't get the answer, we'll have to do it next show. We'll try to find out about the leaf pickup. We have somebody checking. But I imagine that once the weather changes and they get the trucks all set, it becomes difficult. We only have so many men, so many trucks. And once they get them geared up for winter,
it's filled with salt, and
it's not easy to change plows, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a while, but.
Yeah.
I was coming back from Pittsburgh, and it's amazing. Luckily it didn't freeze, but then you come home and you look at some of the accidents.
I was coming up from Meadville yesterday, and it was whiteout conditions, blizzard on 79. Yesterday. I was coming up from Meadville. It was clear. Started snowing. Dinner-sized snowflakes started coming down. Got on 79, and all of a sudden there was zero visibility almost all the way through McKinney.
I've been on there when you swore somebody threw a white sheet in front of you.
Yeah.
It was, you broke through it. I broke through it one time, and there was a lady sideways on the highway.
Yeah.
She had lost it. I'm saying, wow, if I was going 2 miles faster, or I was over 2 feet more this way, I'd take her out,
Yeah.
And it's you learn that, like we came back Saturday and the rain was heavy, but it wasn't freezing, But
no, on the way down it was like sleeting, and then it cleared up and it was clear, and then by the time we left a few hours later, it was whiteout conditions. And then you get to Erie and the ground's moist, but there was no snow. You got
to be careful with this, Everybody's still in their summer mode. I was amazed at the speed on the highway.
Oh, yeah.
Are you nuts? Are you,
Excuse me.
It's like, why are you doing that? I mean,
people just don't know, and
they're tailgating.
Yeah.
All you need is one patch of ice and you're done.
Yep.
If you don't care about yourself, care about the other people,
Yes. This I know.
You want to go hydroplane into oblivion? Be my guest, Don't take nobody out with you, though.
Sounds like a good band name.
What?
Hydroplane to Oblivion.
No, it's amazing when you get down to Pittsburgh. They think, we're the Eskimos up here.
We are the Eskimos.
They wear that badge with honor, though.
Yeah.
We're the tough guys up here.
Living in igloos and driving sled dogs. Yeah, that's us.
That's what they think,
That's what I used to think of Canada. Like, every time I go to Canada, I expect to see igloos and sled dogs. Nope. Never even seen one of those guys riding horses, one of those Ontario Mountie people.
I tell you the truth, I've never even seen them doing it along Niagara Falls.
Yeah. It's weird.
I imagine they do it ceremonially. When I was a kid, they used to come to Erie. They called it the, watch, John will call in. They used to bring the RCMP here at the stadium.
Yeah?
And they used to have, they'd had the horses, and they did this little parade like.
Yeah.
Just like a show, like they used to do with the Lipizans, only not jumping, but.
Yeah, sure.
They used to do they come with their little pennants and all that, and the ride, I think that's what they call it.
The ride?
The ride, I think that's the title of it. They have like a song they play while they make the ride, and
that was actually,
and they split and they come, they do all these.
That was the Canadians sending people on fact finding because they want to take over. They sent spies down on horses.
But you know what I've been wanting to do? My wife will never do. Oop, we have the answer. Is this a good answer?
Do you want me to try?
It will be extended. Okay. So we have this announcement. Public service. Pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
Christmas and New Year's garbage pickup will be delayed one day. And leaf pickup for the lady that called us has been extended, but no date yet. So what that tells me is pretty much what I said. It's going to be on a let's see what happens attitude.
Sure.
If the snow comes and it covers it, we're probably in trouble. If we get a couple breaks and they get the, plows and snow salters off, they'll probably do it. So leaf pickup will be extended past November 30th, but there's no date etched in stone yet. So I hope that helps you.
Yes,
You try to answer our question.
It helps me greatly.
What I wanted to do once is spend a night in an ice hotel.
In an ice hotel?
Yeah, my wife will not do it though.
That just sounds cold.
Well, it's supposed to be. I mean,
You sleep on ice?
we have real, you have glasses made out of ice.
Yeah.
I
went to Vegas once and I went to a bar called Zero or Five Below, I think the bar was called. And the bar was ice. Everything you sat on was ice. The glasses were ice. It was interesting.
Well, they make these. There's one in a couple up in Quebec. I think Montreal and Quebec City.
Yeah.
There's some in Finland and other places.
Why don't we do something like that here in Erie?
Well,
something in the wintertime to come.
They actually make a castle, and I've been wanting to get up there. Maybe we'll take a ride, you and I and my wife, and we'll take a little field trip. She's been wanting to see it.
That's cool.
They make one up in Mayville, New York.
Oh.
If the ice is there on the lake.
Yeah.
It's all dependent on.
Oh, wow.
Like we had winter carnivals here where the snow never fell.
Yeah.
Hard to believe in Erie.
Sure.
But, you plan these things. Normally, look at the Winter Olympics. How many times have they run into no snow?
Yeah.
Snow's 90% of the time here, but
sure.
This is the 10% it didn't. But they built a castle up in Lake Chautauqua, somewhere, Mayville, I think.
Yeah.
They don't let you sleep in there or anything.
Yeah.
But
that'd be cool.
There's some that other places have winter carnivals. I think Minneapolis, they do it.
Yeah.
They build like a huge castle, But yeah, I read about these ice moats. There was one like kind in James Bond, remember?
Yeah.
That one. But these things are quite elaborate.
Well, I think that would be something if we could do it.
Yeah,
Do
you
it here
sleep
in
on an
Erie
ice
to-
bed, but they give you a huge, like, what do you call it? You got lots of blankets and
better be blankets.
a big
cushions.
like a big bearskin thing or something, or everything there is like your plates or glasses, and made out of ice.
We should give that idea to Nick Scott because I know he likes to do wild and crazy stuff like that.
He gave me a wild idea. I can't tell you over to. He and I were talking down there one day when we were doing his rezoning, and he looked. I said, why don't you do this? He goes, hey, that gives me an idea, and I can't tell you, cause
That's fine.
But if he did it, oh man, I don't know. I might try it.
See, seriously, we need to get some different things. Since industry seems to be kind of packing up and leaving, we need tourism. I guess that's all we're going to have.
Well, here's what we came up with, because we're going to get off the air here pretty soon.
Yep.
The last study session was about what they call a CBA, which is a community benefit agreement.
Yeah.
That's where, when somebody comes in, you kind of make some minor demands, like you need to use local people.
Yeah.
You need to hire local people.
Yeah.
Okay, encourage them.
Uh-huh.
And that's what's interesting now. When Nick Scott builds his hotel, if his little empire develops,
Yeah.
I call it that. Now I shouldn't say it that way, but like what he's done at the Peak,
Yeah.
If business does what it's supposed to,
Right.
then some of the things like I started out and joking saying, my son asked me why there's no more beach volleyball courts
Yeah.
along the waterfront. It used to be years ago.
Right.
You have to go out to the peninsula, but think about it like, down Liberty Park or something.
Mm-hmm.
A couple courts,
Sure.
can have a couple tournaments.
Yeah.
And that's when he came up with this idea. He goes, well, how about if I did this? And I said, okay, I'm not going to tell anybody because that's your idea. No use, putting any, getting everybody hyped up and maybe it can't happen. But
Yeah.
his mind is constantly,
I know. I've met the man. I worked for the man, and I'd love to see some cool stuff here.
I say this to people, when government gets involved in things, it's okay, but you got to hire business people.
Yeah.
Business people have to make a dollar. Now, that's a bad word sometimes,
It is a bad.
but that means they have to make things work.
Yeah.
And making things work is sometimes doing stuff, everybody tells you, well, you should build this,
Yeah.
but it ain't going to work, So we'll build a little bit less. Oh, we're going off the air?
Well, we got like a couple minutes. I was just packing up. But you know what I think we should do? He owns that smokestack down there, right? Does he own that smokestack?
Yeah.
Or he should turn that into a lighthouse. He should really.
If you look at his drawing, I got to give you a copy of the hotel project.
Yeah.
Well, there's one in there.
Oh, okay.
If you look at it, he kind of addresses that.
That's cool. I
You got to remember that tower's got.
Yeah, but you encase it in fiberglass.
I think
or
that's
something.
part of his. I think he.
That would make a perfect.
I'm not speaking for him, but I think judging by his drawings.
When you're coming in off the bayfront and you're coming down the bayfront connector, welcome to Erie.
I think judging by what I've
Yeah.
seen in his drawings, I think he plans on addressing that if the project goes to fruition, and if it does,
Yeah.
if it goes all the way to what he'd like to see,
Yep.
it would bring approximately $3 million into the city coffers. If he does everything. Now, he's only building the hotel right now.
Yeah.
So if everything goes out and he starts building the other components,
Sure.
the housing, the retail, the commercial,
Yeah.
he's got a restaurant planned, all that. It's nice. I'll let you borrow my book.
I'll check that out.
And he doesn't say it directly, but if you look at the conceptual drawings, it looks like, they're not going to leave an ugly smokestack there.
Oh, obviously.
They'll light it, paint it, or something.
Yeah. I think that would make a great lighthouse.
Hey, 1 minute?
1 minute to go.
And
Well,
let's see. Will I see you next week?
yep.
Okay, good.
Thanks for watching Taxpayer.
Is this where we play? Is this where we do Dale and Roy and we sing Happy Trails? There you go. We hope you had a singer come in.
Wow, that's not me.
You can't get entertainment like that on Broadway. They just walk past us singing.
They just walk by.
Happy trails to you.
No.
Oh, we're done.
I could play the horse. I could do the clomp, 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 clomp. I can't even
You put
do
that hat on, you're going to play the March of the Peasants.
March of the Peasants.
I think that's what they call it.
Da.
Unless it's Martslav, that might be it.
Dos
Hey, how about
vidania.
that? Martslav by Tchaikovsky.
Borscht.
Well, on behalf of
Ivan.
DJ,
Yeah, whatever.
and Kaz, the city councilman, and of course our engineer who makes it all possible. Mike, our engineer, he makes it all possible.
Yep.
So with that,
Later.
we'll say see you next week.
Ciao. Hasta la nica. That means I'll see you never.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie Zone Government Access, Channel 9.